kind of rules of engagement.
We're encouraging them to really try to keep themselves pure.
You guys watch this. Don't try this at home.
I think it's important for our kids to understand that mommy and daddy love each other.
Like this. Okay. Bend your knees a little bit.
You want to be your husband's biggest cheerleader. You want to be the one that always encourages him, is that one to really do him good all the days of his life.
From Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Thursday, October 14th. I hope you guys are having a good day. It's time to talk about Josh Duggar. Yesterday I did this video where I broke down some shady business deals that were going on with the Duggars, and I was bringing up that Anna Duggar was on a lot of property and that they were moving money around, that property was getting sold, and that Anna had taken out a mortgage with her own company. A lot of you guys asked, well, what's the mortgage? It's not with a bank, so I don't know. You don't qualify for a mortgage when you take out a mortgage from yourself. Anyways, so something got brought up about forfeiture. There was some confusion. Some of you guys thought the forfeiture was just a standard part of his indictment. Others of you believed that it was part of his bond release. And I wanted to revisit this with you since it became such a confusion in the video, because it's actually a part of his indictment. Now, I want to just put this out there right off the bat. Not every federal indictment has forfeiture. Not every crime requires that you actually forfeit assets, property, and anything that is involved in the crime in which you committed. This is only part of crimes in which you've made money off of illegal acts like what Josh is involved in. Now, the feds, know a whole lot more than we do in terms of what Josh's financials look like. They've already had a chance to look at his payroll. They've had a chance to look at his pay stubs for his work. I'm sure they've looked at his assets and his money and the income coming in and going out, because we know in court that the judge or the prosecutors had copies of pay stubs as a part of their investigation. So they were looking deep into his business. And so obviously there was something, I'm guessing, that was seen where they noticed that money was coming in and going out. Now, it's not clear what, but they put in a specific aspect of the indictment on forfeiture alone. And when I've covered a lot of different criminal cases, not every case has forfeiture. Only cases in which they have evidence that property could have been purchased or moved or used from the illegal activities, then forfeiture is added as a part of the criminal complaint. In Josh Duggar's case, there's a specific aspect of his indictment which has an allegation directly on forfeiture. So this isn't necessarily standard on every single indictment. It's specific to every single individual case. So the grand jury in this case alleged and incorporated that on all counts of his indictment, it says, upon conviction of any count in this indictment, the defendant shall forfeit to the United States, pursuant to 18 United States Code, any visual depictions in 18 United States Code, which is the images and the books and the videos that he received or shipped in violation of the defense of the indictment. Any property, real or personal, constituting or traceable to gross profits or other proceeds obtained from the offenses in the indictment. Any property, real or personal, including any and all computer equipment used or intended to be used to commit or to promote the commission of the offenses in the indictment, or any property traceable to such property, including but not limited to computer equipment used in the commission of the offenses of the indictment. So any of the electronics that he used while he was working and involved in this world, in this underground world, a lot of people wonder, like, to be involved in this peer-to-peer network, this is not as easy as simply being a member and just hanging out. They have to generally share content with one another, and they have to generally, like, usually in this world, money's changing hands, or they are sharing information. So if you are going to download something from someone, you have to provide something to somebody else. It's not a free world in this it's like $1 billion illegal industry. It says, if any property subject to forfeiture as a result of any act or omission of the defendants cannot be located upon the exercise of due diligence, has been transferred or sold or deposited to a third person, has been placed beyond the jurisdiction of the court, or has been substantially diminished in value, or has been commingled with other property which cannot be subdivided without difficulty. It is the intent of the United States, pursuant to Title 18, to seek forfeiture of any property of said defendants up to the value of the forfeitable property. Because there is concern that Josh could potentially try to hide his assets or move it into a third party's name, and it doesn't say that it can't be his wife. If he moves any assets out of his name, if he moves anything out of his name and puts it in Anna's name, it can still be forfeited. So it says it is the intent of the United States to seek forfeiture of any property of said defendants up to the value of the above forfeitable property. So even if he moves things out, they're going to still find a way to take that asset from him up to the amount that he owes. Not to mention, on top of this, he could be fined up to $500,000. So not only could he have to go to jail for 40 years, but he also could have a fine of $500,000, because it's a $250,000 fine for each count. And generally there's usually a penalty, a financial penalty, and a financial penalty, and also a penalty with prison. So Josh, right now, moving things around, having Anna's name on everything, and using companies to transfer assets, from a forfeiture standpoint, looks kind of shady. Josh probably doesn't want to lose money. But the problem here is that it doesn't matter if it's a joint state. It doesn't matter in the state of Arkansas if Anna is a owner of property too. It doesn't matter. If Josh derived income from this world, if Josh was making income from participating in this world, and they know that he's made money participating in this world, he has to pay, and he's going to pay it back, and he has to give up everything that he made as a result of that. So this is something that I think Josh has known about, because for over 2 years, Josh has been removing his name off businesses. Josh has been putting Anna's name on content and businesses. He is suspiciously removed from everything. And why would you take your name off of things if you have no reason to, outside of the federal government knocking at your door saying, well, if you're found guilty, you're going to have to forfeit. You know what I mean? I also think that because all of these transactions are happening right now, because they're moving assets, because new LLCs are happening, because property is getting subdivided and sold, and because Anna Duggar's name is on everything, I think Josh knows he's going to prison, and I think Josh knows he's going to prison for a long time, and I think he knows that he needs to try to save some assets for his wife so he doesn't leave her broke. And I think he's doing whatever he can. But I think this is what someone who is guilty would do. And I think this is someone who knows that they've been caught. And I think this is someone who's scrambling to make sure that his wife has something. Because if you're not guilty, you don't have to hide anything. If you're not guilty, you don't have to move things around. You don't have to plan for a future without your wife. You don't have to move your assets around so people can't find it. If you're not guilty, you don't go to prison. If you're guilty, you scramble. The feds will always find their money. Now, some others of you said, well, he's also trying to shield taxes, which could be true, but still, moving income from one place to another does not negate the fact that you have to pay taxes on those transactions. So he still has to pay the taxes on the sale, and he still has to pay taxes on the income he receives. He still has to pay the taxes. And moving it from one place to another doesn't change his tax liability. My point yesterday was with the amount of scrutiny that Josh Duggar is under. He's under a microscope, you guys, a tight one. They're watching everything he does. They're going to look at all of his business transactions. They're going to look at Anna's business transactions because Anna and Josh share everything. Anna doesn't have employment, and so they're not going to take, if Anna's making money off a partnership, they're not going to take her money that she might be making off a partnership. But if Josh has income and derived income from this, they're going to take it because it's illegal activity. And being involved in this industry is illegal. And rightfully so, it should be taken. And I will say this, that in my opinion, people that are doing things legally don't go out of their way to open up a million LLCs suspiciously in their wives' names days, weeks before there's a trial looming that could put you in prison for 40 years, selling off property, opening up LLCs in your friend's name with your wife as a member. It certainly seems dodgy. I'm not saying it's illegal, but it seems suspect. And to me, knowing that there's a forfeiture clause here, knowing that the feds could take everything if they find it, and if they figure out that he was making money off of this, they're going to take their money. And Josh is freaking out, in my opinion, and that's why this stuff is happening, in my opinion. But the thing is that Josh is doing this under such a ridiculous lens that he's putting everything in Anna's name, and everyone that follows the Duggars knows that Anna does not get herself involved in business. It's all on Josh. Josh is doing all of this, in my opinion. And then with that said, knowing that he's purposely doing this, I don't believe in coincidences when it comes to this. So regardless of what he's doing now, if it is to try to hide money, they're still going to find it. And I don't know if Josh is trying to just outsmart them, or if Josh thinks that he can somehow make sure that Anna has this money. I don't know if Josh knows that he's made money off of this and that he has to try to get rid of this so that other people can have the money. But you don't get to, according to the government, make money on crimes like this and keep it. So Josh could be scrambling right now. And the reason why he's scrambling is he might have a lot to lose outside of just his freedom, but also all of his assets. And he's got 7 kids. It's a lot. So this isn't just as simple as it's a joint property state. It's not a divorce. This is federal crimes. The feds don't care. If he made the money, he's going to have to pay. All right, you guys, tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.